Greetings, Nimrods. So recently, we got this 1894 and 44 mag, and we really love it. So we've been shooting it quite a bit. With ammunition being hard to find, we set up for reloading this right away, and we'll talk about that in a future video. But had a unpleasant thing happen in that I was picking up some of the brass that had fallen off the table and realized one of the pieces was in two pieces. So that's disappointing. Now this is range pickup brass. This isn't one's fire. This is stuff I've picked up on the range, and maybe someone knew a little bit more about it than I did and knew it was time not to pick it up again. So a little disappointed because that means I have to throw out this whole batch. But it's better to be safe than sorry. So taking a closer look at this, all these ones with this particular head stamp, I sorted it through, and looking at the one that failed, I noticed that the edge of the front of the case mouth is took a measurement there, and then at the point at which it failed in the center, and it was definitely thinner in the center than at the edge, which would make you think that yes, this case has stretched. So took another random one out of that lot that had not yet failed, and it did have a line perceivable in it, but not much of one. And that's what you look for, I guess, when you're checking your brass, which we're going to do much more carefully now. And I cut it in half, and it didn't really appear to show any difference on the inside that I could see right away. But if you take a close look at it, you can see that line on the inside if you wipe off some of the powder residue. And again, I checked the edge, and it was definitely thicker at the edge than the middle, which would tell you that this brass is stretching. So we're going to throw that whole lot out. And here's one that almost had a crack in it. You could really see that ring around it, especially to the naked eye. It doesn't show up in the camera so well. So we did the same thing. We cut that one in half, and it was thicker at the edge, again, than it was in the middle. So there you go. And when you take a close look at this one, you can really see it. I took some sandpaper because I was sanding off the edges of those when I cut them in half, just so you weren't measuring a burr. But you can really see that ring where it stretched and almost failed on that load. So then I took another piece of range pickup that I got at a different time and is definitely a different batch, different head stamp. Cut it in half, sanded one of them, and you can see a little bit of rings in it, but not much. But this was interesting because I measured it at the edge, and it was much thinner than the other ones. And it was pretty much the same until you get to the back, which it would be thickening because the case does get thicker at the back. So I think those other ones, the brass actually flowed to the front of the case. That's why it was actually thicker at the front. So what did we learn? We're going to be much more careful about picking up brass and reloading range brass. I'm still going to do it because I'm cheap. So definitely leave us comments if you want to learn me something about this. I'm not an expert on reloading brass, as it were. And remember, Nimrod wants you to subscribe. So subscribe, like, share.
I think so.
And we'll see you next time. Happy hunting, Nimrods.